What if the biggest shock in MotoGP history isn't a crash, a title fight, or a last lap overtake, but a single sentence from Marc Marquez about 2027? Are we witnessing the beginning of a transfer earthquake that could change MotoGP forever? Before you read any further, ask yourself this question and don't answer it too quickly. What happens when a rider who has nothing left to prove suddenly decides to stop hiding his thoughts? If you're a MotoGP fan who loves drama, tension, and moments that make your heart race faster than a Ducati on a straight, you're in the right place. Make sure you stay until the end, and if this story makes you feel something, surprise, excitement, or even fear, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because your reaction is part of this story. No smoke without fire. That old saying returned to the MotoGP paddock with terrifying relevance the moment Marc Marquez, a man known for calculated words and controlled silence, finally spoke in a way that felt different. Not louder, not angrier, just more honest. And sometimes honesty is the most dangerous thing of all. At first, it sounded harmless. Just another interview, another routine exchange between a superstar rider and the media. The cameras rolled, microphones hovered, and Marquez smiled the way he always does, that familiar mix of charm and guarded intensity. But then came the pause. That fraction of a second where his eyes shifted, his voice slowed, and something unspoken filled the air. Fans felt it before they understood it. Commentators sensed it before they could explain it. And within hours, the MotoGP world was asking a question that refused to go away. Did Marc Marquez just signal the biggest transfer shock of 2027? For years, Marquez has been the center of MotoGP gravity. Teams orbit around him. Riders measure themselves against him. Even when injured, even when struggling, his presence alone reshapes the championship narrative. But this time, the story wasn't about lap times or trophies. This time it was about the future. A future he had rarely discussed so openly. He didn't say the name of a team. He didn't announce a deal. He didn't even confirm that he would move. And yet, somehow, his words felt louder than any official press release. That is the paradox of Marc Marquez. When he chooses not to hide, the entire paddock listens. The question that exploded across social media was simple but terrifying. Why now? Why would Marquez, a rider who understands timing better than almost anyone, choose this moment to open the door, just a little, to the idea of a different future in 2027? The answer, as always in MotoGP, is layered, emotional, and full of tension. To understand the weight of this moment, you have to understand Marquez himself. This is not just a multiple-time world champion. This is a rider who rebuilt his career after injuries that would have ended others. This is a competitor who learned patience through pain and strategy through survival. When someone like that speaks openly, it is never accidental. For years, fans have speculated about Marquez's long-term plans. Will he stay loyal? Will he chase one last challenge? Will he risk everything again just to feel that hunger? These questions were once the territory of forums and late-night debates. Now they feel uncomfortably real. In his recent comments, Marquez didn't deny the rumors. That alone was shocking. He didn't dismiss the idea of change as fantasy. Instead, he acknowledged possibility. And in MotoGP, possibility is fuel. It spreads faster than fire and burns just as hot. What made this moment even more intense was the emotional undertone of his words. There was no arrogance, no defiance, just reflection. The kind of reflection that comes from a rider who has already climbed the mountain and is now deciding whether to climb another, or to find a different one entirely. Fans reacted instantly. Some felt excitement, imagining new colors, new bikes, new rivalries. Others felt fear. Because when a legend moves, nothing stays the same. Championships shift. Careers are rewritten. Histories are reevaluated. And then there were those who felt something deeper. Sadness mixed with anticipation. Because if Marquez is truly preparing for a shock move in 2027, it means we are closer than ever to the end of an era. Not today. Not tomorrow. But the clock has started ticking. Inside the paddock, silence followed the noise. Team managers avoided direct answers. Engineers smiled carefully. Rival riders suddenly found themselves answering questions about a future that felt uncomfortably uncertain. Everyone knew the same thing, even if no one said it out loud. This was not just talk. Marquez understands the power of suggestion. He knows that in MotoGP, pressure doesn't always come from lap times. Sometimes it comes from imagination. By speaking openly, he forced every team to think, to plan, to consider a scenario they may not have wanted to face yet. The year 2027 suddenly feels closer than ever. There is something almost cinematic about this moment. A champion at a crossroads. A sport on the edge of transformation. A single interview igniting thousands of theories. This is why MotoGP is more than racing. It's storytelling at 300 kilometers per hour. Emotionally, Marquez's words hit differently because they came without drama. No anger. No frustration. Just honesty. And honesty from a warrior is always unsettling. It makes fans wonder what battles are being fought internally, away from cameras and podiums. Is he chasing one final legacy-defining challenge? Is he searching for the perfect machine to match his evolved riding style? Or is he simply acknowledging that time, like speed, never slows down? The beauty and cruelty of this moment is that no one knows for sure. Not even Marquez, perhaps. But what we do know is that MotoGP will never be the same after this conversation began. As the days pass, every gesture, every quote, every silence will be analyzed. Because when Marc Marquez stops hiding his thoughts, the world doesn't just listen. It reacts. So now the question returns to you, the fan watching from home, scrolling, reading, thinking. Are we ready for the shock that 2027 might bring? Are we prepared to see the grid reshaped by a single decision from a rider who has already given us everything? If this story made your heart race even a little, don't stay silent. Share your thoughts. Drop your prediction in the comments. Do you believe Marquez will make the move of the decade? Or is this the calm before an even bigger storm? Like this article, subscribe for more MotoGP drama, and stay with us, because if this is only the beginning, the next chapter could be explosive.